will have highest awakened response, alive response for life continuously. Kailasa is enlightenment ecosystem, literally enlightenment itself in your own home, wherever you are. Proper customized spiritual service helping you to complete your life negativity, withdrawal from life, self-hatred, self-denial, self-doubt, so much of tiredness, laziness. We can support you, aligning your diet, your attitude, your aptitude, your understanding about life. We can help you with everything.
Nithyananda. Welcome back to all of the viewers who are joining us for today's program as we are moving more and more towards the live Parashakti Akashic reading at 10 p.m. IST today. And I hope every single one of you is sharing this with all of your friends, your family, and ensuring that everyone who is interested in the very least and wants to have the divine blessings of Devi Parashakti in your life, and you can make sure that you share this link with everyone and anyone that you know. The Devi Parashakti Akashic reading is at 10 p.m. IST and 9:30 a.m. EST. Make sure that you are tuning in and you're staying tuned for the live Parashakti Akashic reading. Now we're moving into the next segment in today's program, the continuation in the series of presentations on the persecution of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. And in so many different ways, we've heard the stories of survivors of child sexual abuse, the stories of survivors of brutal assault and rape, the stories of survivors who have literally seen their homes just light up in flames and need to be kicked out onto the streets. And in each of these instances, it is not just an attack against one adinam, one monastery, one person, or even if you say it's an attack against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, still it is an attack against Hinduism in its entirety. Hinduism for the last 1,000 years has been under continuous series of attacks and is literally going through genocide after genocide. And today, the dying population of Hindus is extremely alarming. But we have to ask ourselves, why are the bells not ringing? The number of Hindus in Pakistan is slowly dwindling to less than 1%. And even officials do not know how many Hindus are actually living there and continuously who are being attacked and needing to flee. And the Hindus in Afghanistan, Hindus in Bangladesh, Hindus in Malaysia, in every single country that was once a Hindu desha, a Hindu country, the Hindus are under attack. They're continuously facing violence by different anti-Hindu forces and supremacist forces. And the population of Hindus is dwindling, is dying, and is becoming more and more vulnerable. We have to ask ourselves, why isn't an alarm going off inside of each and every one of us Why aren't the bells ringing that Hinduism is dying, that Hinduism is actually losing its numbers, losing its existence slowly in the world? We have to be disillusioned by the reality that we are living in. We have to be disillusioned by whatever idea that we have that Hinduism is still alive and that it is still in its most authentic form. We have to understand that it has gone far from what it once was, and it's losing its origins, losing its roots. Today, we are going to be presenting to each and every one of you what's happening in the heart of the Hindu civilization in India itself, in Madurai, one of the most prolific and most powerful centers for Hinduism, an epicenter for the ancient Hinduism that is still alive today, and at least in the infrastructure. And one of the first and the longest surviving Hindu ecosystems that exist today. The Kailasa Dwadashanta Shyamala Pita Sarvagna Pitam was established in the midst of time by Lord Paramashiva and later revived by Devi Meenakshi and Lord Sundareshwara, who as deities and the incarnates of Sri Paramashiva ruled over the kingdom of Madurai. And we're going to be analyzing and understanding the persecution that happened against this ancient indigenous Hindu kingdom. Devi Meenakshi, Lord Sundareshwara, and the Tirugnana Sambandar, or the Guru Parampara of this ancient lineage of the Madurai Adinam of the Shyamala Pita Sarvagna Pita, and the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated as the Guru Mahasannidhanam of the Shyamala Pita Sarvagna Pitam on the 29th of April in 2012. This grand and ancient lineage, starting from Meenakshi herself and Paramashiva in the form of Sundareshwara, and then revived by Sri Tirugnana Sambandar in later years, and then after that, an unbroken lineage of Guru Mahasannidhanams who had ruled literally as the leaders of the sovereign kingdoms in India, in Bharata, in the Hindu Desha. As you can see here, we have all of the preceding Guru Mahasannidhanams as a lineage who are predecessors of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. And each of them worshipped and revered as sovereign leaders of the kingdom of Madurai, the kingdom of the Shyamala Pita Sarvagna Pitam. Yes, and here is the 292nd Guru Mahasannidhanam, the Shyamala Pita Sarvagna Pitam, and finally the lineage being passed down to the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself on the 29th of April 2012. Now, I also have joining with me Nithyananda about how the entire narrative of Madurai had happened. And I'd just like to welcome Ma Atmapriya Swami to the panel.
Nithyananda. Yes, so as we were narrating the glory and history of the ecosystem, the kingdom of Madurai, you could see these pictures which are actually displayed, where the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, His Divine Holiness, was declared as the 293rd Guru Mahasannidhanam of the Shyamala Pita Sarvagna Pitam, the Madurai, the oldest papal state and the monastic kingdom, at the age of 34 on 27th of April 2021. You can see the 292nd Pontiff who is coronating His Divine Holiness and giving him the staff, the traditional staff of Meenakshi to His Divine Holiness on the 27th of April 2012.
And actually, Ma, I'd like if you can just describe it. Actually, I remember from our previous conversations about the glory of the Madurai Adinam and the coronation of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, that you actually had mentioned how the 292nd Guru Mahasannidhanam actually saw and declared the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism as an incarnation of Sri Trignyana Sambandar himself. Could you share a little bit more about that and about how, what that means really to the whole world, what that means in the history of Hinduism, that Guru Mahasannidhanam is declaring this for the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism?
Yeah, yes. So it was way back in 2012 when some of the disciples of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had met the 292nd Pontiff. And after a while, he had actually told that he got a dream, and Paramashiva had literally told that Swamiji, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, is going to be his successor of the Madurai Adinam. And literally, it is blessings of Paramashiva and Meenakshi herself to have Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism as the 293rd Pontiff of Guru Mahasannidhanam. So this was what exactly he had actually told in all the media, in the press, and that is after which he came to Adi Kailasa Sarvagnya Peetham. He met the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and he coronated him in both places, in Adi Kailasa and in Madurai. These are the pictures, as you had said, I remember very clearly. So he came to our Adi Kailasa Sarvagnya Peetham, where this is the picture which is projected over here, and also in Madurai when he coronated him, saying that he had a dream and revelation to him that the Supreme Pontiff is an incarnation of Trignyana Sambandar, and this has happened only by the blessings of Paramashiva and Meenakshi.
And here we have a photograph of the immediate lineage of all of the four predecessors of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and it is going from the five pontiffs back until the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. So we have each and every one of Guru Mahasannidhanam.
Yes, so these are the pictures you could see. The aftermath of the coronation of His Divine Holiness as the 293rd Pontiff of the Madurai Kingdom. So he literally walked the streets with the 292nd Pontiff, and he met each and every person in the street, and every day he used to go to the Meenakshi temple and heal people who ever come to the Adinam and offer Annadan to more than 5,000 people per day. So that was the beautiful contribution after the coronation of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism.
Yes, and as we can see here, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, after having been coronated, is visiting the Madurai temple with the 292nd Guru Mahasannidhanam. And after this, he had done so much to revive and to bring back life into the Madurai Adinam, whether it is the reconstruction of the reconstruction and repair work around the Madurai Adinam, around this ancient heritage, or giving free food every single day, or reviving the ancients, such as the Jnanapal. With Atmapriya Swami, would you be able to even tell, I think even yourself, you had served as one of the doctors in the medical camps that were going on. Could you tell a little bit more about what kinds of services that that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was spearheading there, and how was the reaction? How many people came to Madurai Adinam, came to the SSJP or the Shamala Peeta Sarvagnya Peetham every day? And what was, like, if you can give us a picture, like what was a day in the life of Madurai when Swamiji was there?
Yes, so when the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was there in Madurai, so literally in terms of Annadan, I could see around more than 200 volunteers were staying in campus in the Shamala Peeta Sarvagnya Peetham, and we were cooking and serving pure sattvic organic food in the Madurai Adinam, and per day, like for one meal. So we used to give 3 meals 24/7. So it is not only limited to 3 meals. Anytime anyone walks in, they can actually have a full meal, a fulfilled meal. So minimum 1,000 to 2,000 people, they enter the campus and they
Wow.
have a fulfilled meal. And the beauty was the crime rate. So the local police officer, he came one day to have the darshan of Supreme Court of Hinduism, and he said that literally the crime rate of the whole area had reduced because the theft, the robbery was the high level in that area just because they didn't have food. So the Supreme Court of Hinduism was coronated right after 2 months. The whole crime rate has decreased, and even I was a witness to that when the police officer was actually sharing it with the devotees and the Supreme Court of Hinduism itself. So that was the level of enriching just in terms of Annadan, which was done in the Shamalapita Sarvajna Peetham when the Supreme Court was coronated. So later, when in the medical camp. So I was also part of the medical camp, and almost 3 medical camps were conducted with a team of more than 50 doctors in more than 10 to 12 specialties, in various specialties, and around more than 10,000 people around the whole area near the Shamlapita Sarvajna Peetham were actually benefited by the medical camp. So, and the Supreme Pontiff also had a huge vision of building a big hospital, a multi-speciality hospital in the Shamlapita Sarvajna Peetham. So that was in regards to the contribution in terms of medical facilities and medical camp. Yes, ma'am.
Amazing. Can you tell us a little bit about what it was like as yourself serving in these medical camps? How were the patients? How did they really feel about Swamiji holding these medical camps, and how many people in the medical camps also were benefited in the surrounding area?
Yes. So as I actually mentioned, more than 10,000 to 15,000 people were benefited in each medical camp. So we had conducted more than 3 to 5 medical camps. So the people, like the basic food and medicine is what people are yearning for. So that was fulfilled, and the early diagnosis. Not only that, so even if they had any diagnosis of any disease or any problem, the next day they used to come to the Supreme Court of Hinduism, take his darshan during the Sarva darshan and get it healed. So this was a huge service was actually offered in the Shamlapita Sarvajna Peetham when the medical camp was actually conducted, and we had a team of more than 50 doctors, all of them who were initiated disciples of the Supreme Pontiff, and everyone, like literally, not only the doctors, we had more than 100 volunteers in the medical camp who had come over there and distributed free medicines. So whoever came to the medical camp received free medicines for whatever problem and medical illnesses they were actually facing.
Wonderful. So actually, in addition, as you can see here, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had gone and visited so many of the surrounding temples, and the Madurai Adhinam, actually being one of the oldest heritage adhinams and monastery complexes of this entire area, was in charge, if I'm right, of different and the Adhinam. So as a part of this, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had visited these temples, had initiated so many repair projects, not just repair, but recovery, reconstruction, and had initiated even volunteers coming from all over the world in order to begin the restoration of these ancient heritage. And these are some of the oldest temples in the area, if I'm right. So can you tell us a little bit about the restoration projects that Swamiji had spearheaded at this time, led, and he even led it and started to do the same, like lead all the volunteers in restoring. We have footage of that, which is an amazing thing. If you can describe that, Ma, we'd really like to know about these restoration projects that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism spearheaded at this time.
Yeah, so actually there are 4 temples which are a part of the Madurai Adhinam. We can see the Kanchanam, the Kachanur temple, and 2 more temples which are a part of the Madurai Adhinam. So the Supreme Pontiff, actually, he physically visited all these 4 temples. These are the ancient temples which are a part of the Madurai Adina, the Shamlapita Sarvajñapita. So he literally, we could actually, we can also see few visuals and pictures of how Supreme Pontiff, he physically was there. He was physically cleaning each and every pillar and each and every statue, each and every deity inside the temple, and he was literally supervising the whole temple area. So literally sitting there and monitoring and cleaning the whole temple, and he was actually an intense part of the cleaning process and the revival process of the all 4 temples. So that is what is the video which we are watching here. So he went, not only visited the temples, he was actually on ground. He just did the work. I don't know, I don't have words to say, but literally I was also a part of the project.
Right. So we do have footage of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself, cleaning the temples. I think we just have to. That would be amazing to show that footage in particular. Yeah. I think now we have to stop the screen share and then we can start. Yeah, we can just show that video of the Supreme Pontiff of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself, spearheading the project of restoration in Madurai. And we're doing this. We're understanding about this is because the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had literally visited temple by temple, had literally shown so many different heritage sites to the whole world, brought the Shamanapita Sarvajñapitam to the international audience. And from all over the world, volunteers had literally signed up to come to start and join in on these projects. And there was, as you can see here, these are some of the temples where the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself led the restoration projects. And these temples, if you have an estimate of how old these temples are, I'm quite sure that they're some of the oldest temples in the area, even. These temples, such as the Kanjanur temple and in Kanchanam, the temples there are some of the oldest temples that are in the area, as well, of course, and are all under the purview, under the responsibility of the Madurai Adinam itself. So that's why, as the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, he himself went and not even visited, he himself went to these temples, led the projects, led these massive restoration projects. As you can see here, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself directing the whole team for the restoration of this temple, and he himself cleaning, going and cleaning the deities, going and cleaning the cobwebs off of the temple pillars. All of this really shows the amount of contribution that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was determined to do, and not only that, what he was successfully doing. These temples for hundreds of years did not even see how the basic running, and were not even able to meet in many ways the basic levels of running and sanitation, cleanliness, and many of the temples were many of the temple constructions were slowly falling apart due to so much of air pollution, due to so much of different effects of time happening on the temple construction. And due to this, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism saw it necessary, absolutely necessary, to ensure that these projects are underway and happening, and therefore he himself went and cleaned these temples, as you can see here. Now, the very why we are showing this, and the very astonishing fact is then, despite having contributed so much, shown in so many different ways, the restoration he was doing, the amount of contribution he was doing, how, as Mahatma Priya Swami had mentioned before, literally the crime rates in the surrounding area of the Kailasa, the Shamala Pita Sarvagna Pitam, had decreased, and 10,000 people in the surrounding areas were continuously being benefited. It's not a joke to be able to do this kind of good to the people. And people around Madurai were celebrating the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism continuously, always visiting the temple, visiting Madurai temple when the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had graced and received the blessings of Devi Meenakshi. Every single morning there would be a procession to the Devi Meenakshi Madurai, the main temple of Madurai, and both the 292nd Guru Mahasannidhanam and the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism as the 293rd Guru Mahasannidhanam would go to the temple to receive the darshan of Devi Meenakshi. And at that time, literally crowds of people would be gathering around just to have a glimpse, the blessings, and seek the guidance of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. So in this way, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has given so much has contributed so much to the Madurai Adinam, to Madurai itself. It's not a joke to be able to say that 10,000 people in the surrounding areas were continuously being benefited. As you can see here, as I mentioned, the Pontiff of Hinduism going to the temple to receive the darshan. And like this, going to every single temple. And not only that, the programs that were being offered when Mahatma Priya Swami joins us back, we'll see how the programs that were ongoing continuously in the Madurai and also in the surrounding areas were also benefit people. Programs about how to live a conflict-free life, how to overcome anxiety and fear, and how to really be able to live life powerfully. So as you can see, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, along with the temple administrators, the leaders of the community who are also discussing and speaking about the activities, the social, spiritual activities that are going on in the temple, the benefits that is reaching the people, and so many other issues that are concerning the temple, including the regular attendance and the regular treatment and of the pujacharyas, the worship, the rituals, everything. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism would be consulted for his guidance by the temple administrators and the leaders of the surrounding area. Yes. We'll be understanding next. About sorry for that technical glitch. Now in the next few minutes, we'll be understanding about, despite having successfully transformed this indigenous kingdom, revived this indigenous kingdom of the Shamala Pita Sarvagna Pitam, even though he had revived this, the Shamala Pita Sarvagna Pitam, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had literally been undergone so much of attack over the course of just a few weeks. More than 50 petitions and 50 cases were filed against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism in acts of abhorrent, absolutely baseless allegations that would go out onto the media, have massive campaigns of hate speech against against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. We'll now be understanding how the attacks against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism ensued in the following month after a very quick break.
Paramashivoham Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham Nithyananda Paramashivoham Om 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 Nithyananda Paramashivoham. If you are interested in enlightenment, we will immediately bring this to you. If you are not interested, we will explain the whole science, inspire you and make you interested in enlightenment science. We need to cater this enlightenment science to the whole world wherever they are, because enlightenment is the birthright of all human beings. Kailasa is responsible to provide that. Knowledge I received from my gurus and practice manifested in my life, perfected by teaching millions of people from all cultures, time zones, backgrounds, genders, nationality, race, from every creed. So this absolutely perfected knowledge available to you, served to you in your home without even you moving out of your couch, free of cost.
Nithyananda?
Yes, Nithyananda.
Nithyanandam, once again, welcome back to all of the viewers. And just as a recap for what we have been through, what we have discussed so far with Mahatma Priyananda Swami, is the amount of contribution, the amount of successful revival of this ancient Hindu indigenous kingdom that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had done in a very short amount of time. I think just within 1 month, if I'm right, Mahatma Priya Swami, that within 1 month, the entire Adinam had just been transformed. And again, whether it is the Annadam, the medical camps, the restoration projects, not only inside of the Madurai Adinam, but also in temples across this area. So in just a short amount of time, immediately after the Kailasa Shamanapita Sarvagnapitam, the coronation that happened on the 29th of April in 2012, immediately after that, in record-breaking amount of time, There was so much activity, so much celebration, so much of good that was happening for the area, for the people, and for ultimately for Hinduism. And it was, and even now seeing the pictures, as you can see, there are all of these different projects, all of these different even the satsangs that Swamiji had literally daily been conducting, and the darshans. I believe that every single day, as you can see, Sarva Darshan was happening. So if Ma'am Atmapriya Swami can just a little briefly describe what is Sarva Darshan and what the people that came even for Sarva Darshan.
Yes, so all the localites of the Madurai kingdom, so who are living in and around the temple, and all the people, the local public, they literally used to visit the Madurai Adinam. So earlier, when before the Supreme Court of Hinduism was before coronation, so all of them used to come to the temple, but it was after when Supreme Court of Hinduism was coronated, literally around every day, around 1,000 people used to come take the darshan. The Sarva Darshan is the darshan with the Supreme Pontiff used to actually meet the public. He used to listen to their problems, heal them literally by talking to them and giving them the spiritual healing. So these are the various picture which we could see. So literally, at least all the people in the local Madurai kingdom, that whole place would have been benefited by this Sarva Darshan, which is literally free. And he used to, there are a lot of miracles had happened. He used to literally heal each and every one who come there by giving them the free healing, talking to them and attending each one of them individually through the Sarva Darshan. So that is what we could see actually in all these pictures in the Shamlapita Sarvajnapeetham, which happened right in 2012. So people used to flock in crowds just to see his face, even if they didn't even have a touch. At least they wanted to come and see his face to see the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. These are the various pictures which we could actually see.
And also here, the tradition of Jnanapal that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had revived. Can you explain a little bit about that, about how, what was the tradition and how the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism revived it?
Yes, actually, in the Hindu tradition, in the Vedic heritage, it is a symbolic offering of the wisdom to people. So that is when it started with the great saint Jnana Sambandar, when he had the breast milk of Devi Parashakti, and he literally experienced that oneness, the superconscious breakthrough in him. The same tradition was actually revived by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and you can see those pictures in Shamalapita Sarvajnapeetham offering the enlightening milk, which is called as the Jnanapal, to all the visitors, to all the pilgrims, to all the devotees who visited the ashram here. Both the 292nd and the 293rd pontiffs are actually having the enlightening milk, and they're distributing it to their visitors and the pilgrims. So it is a symbolic offering of wisdom to all the people. So that is the heritage and the tradition of the Shamalapita Sarvajnapeetham.
Yes, and amazing. As you can see, so it's not just the amount of things he was contributing, the Annadan, the medical camp, but even the sacred traditions, the revival of these sacred traditions that were lost so many thousands of years ago, that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was reviving and distribute and giving to the public. And that just that sacred sentiment, literally once again, is like Meenakshi was living among them again, living in Madurai once again. And as you can see in the photos and everything, it literally how Queen Meenakshi attended to her people in her kingdom. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was attending every single day and reviving the community, reviving this ancient indigenous Hindu community, Hindu kingdom. And after that, if you see the incessant attacks, the amount of extreme that the anti-Hindu militant forces had gone to ensure that what the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was doing, the amount of good that he was doing, was stopped or needed to be stopped. And even though today we can say that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has now started again the amount of contributions that he's doing in an absolutely new breakthrough way. At that time in 2012, there was an onslaught of attacks against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism by anti-Hindu militant forces that had really been invested in ensuring the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism needed to be eliminated. First, many of them had been had started lawfare that would which are basically false cases that would try to gain the public opinion on the against the appointment of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism as the 293rd Guru Mahasannidhanam. So in so many different ways, they're literally making up lies, making up just out of thin air, making up lies about what's going on inside of the Adinam, portraying that using the media, which they own, the anti-Hindu forces own the media, using the media in order to portray that to the public and to illegally move their lawfare cases against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. So, Atmapriya Swami, if you can just brief us on a little bit about what were the lawfares, the cases that were filed against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism that were absolutely baseless, that allegations were just so atrocious. If you can share your insider point of view on that and share that with the viewers, please.
Yes, so actually, you could see here, after the coronation of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, around the Hindu leaders from more than 53 organizations, they had actually pledged their support to the Supreme Pontiff as the 293rd Pontiff. But on the 10th of May 2012, so if you see, a false case, a lawfare was actually filed by an unknown anti-Hindu militant who actually he filed a case that the appointment of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism as the 293rd Pontiff is illegal. So that was the first illegal attack which started. So it continued on the 12th of May 2012, where you can see a false complaint claimed to have visited the Madurai Adinam on the night of 12th May, that he was served holy water spiked with intoxicants, and that he has reached an inebriated state, and in front of him his divine holiness and several women were in compromising position on beds made of white tiger skins and elephant tusks. So this is what is the most stupidest of the case which was filed, because I was a witness and I was an inmate there, right in Madurai Adinam, doing all these services. So this was a brutal false case which was filed against, stating that women, like all the women, are dressed inappropriately inside there, and they are seen in compromising position on the beds with men, and there is a tiger skin and elephant tusk there in the Adinam, and women are doing prostitution. And one of the guys called Sole Kannan, he said he had seen all these things happening right in front of his eyes there inside the Adinam. So this was the atrocious attack, especially by this false complaint on the Madurai Adina, where literally day in and day out, all the sannyasis were serving thousands and thousands of people through Annada and through medical camps, and as we had seen all the pictures, and every activity which we do was directly contributing to the public at large. So this was the false complaint on the 12th of May 2012, and on the 26th of May 2012, one unknown, like a caste supremacist, Jagadala Pradaban, he filed a false complaint saying that His Divine Holiness had to be removed as the 293rd Pontiff of Madurai Adinam. So several cases were filed against Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, even though Hindu leaders from more than 54 organizations had supported him, that his coronation is true, it is legal. So that was the brutal attack in Madurai Adinam.
And yeah, I would like to point out several things here. One, this is a example prostitutes, of chastity and of service to the whole world, but completely twisting that and portraying that in the media and sexualizing us, objectifying us, and making it an absolute opposite. When a woman stands up to do service to the whole world, volunteers and wants to do service, this is how they portray in the opposite way, and not only file cases but also portray in the media, so that the public view is an absolutely opposite frame or image that is portrayed to the whole world, thus literally assassinating the character of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and all of the women sannyasis. And it's like, and thus after that, then justifying the attacks that they do, the rapes and assault that they do against the women, just with this, just with the media, talk, and then what the campaigns in the media have been speaking about and spreading hate speech about the women of inside the Adinam. And not only that, they use the legal cases as well as the media hate speech that is being spread in order to justify the subsequent violent attacks against sannyasis of the Nithyananda order. And in Madurai also, we saw several different attacks where literally our sannyasis were hospitalized. Even the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had to intervene and go to the hospital to ensure that the sannyasis were healed and being taken care of. And even the destruction of the properties, like the cars, they were thrashed and like literally stones pelted into the cars, the property of the Adinam, property of Kailasa. What had really, honestly, we have to ask ourselves, what had provoked this violence when we're doing so much of good inside, when we're doing so much of good and we're we're successfully reviving an indigenous Hindu kingdom. The way that the anti-Hindu militant forces had literally conspired and strategized these attacks in order to ultimately oppress the Hindu kingdom, continue further, and ensure that the work of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was delayed and could not be done. As you can see here, this is some of the most brutal staged mobs of the anti-Hindu militant forces. They literally send these henchmen and these people to attack the sannyasis, and then in the media they'll try to portray as if there is hatred, there is so much of public outcry in quotes against the sannyasis, whereas the truth is they sent their henchmen and they're hired people in order to literally cause so much of havoc, violate the sannyasis and sannyasinis, and literally put them in the hospital.
Yes, so here you could see the visual where two sannyasis at the Madurai Adinam's Kanjanur Agnishwara temple, it's a part of the Madurai Adinam, the Shyamlapeta Sarvajna Peetham. So a mob of at least 100 people, they beat up the sannyasis and they escaped, but the mob, they smashed their car, and the two sannyasis, they managed to drive away. And first they ran to the first local police station, and then they filed a complaint, and then they went to the hospital. They themselves got admitted. So that was the sad pictures. You can see the visuals, how the people, the mobs are beating up the sannyasis and they're attacking the sannyasis just for the good which we had done to the public.
And a really disheartening thing here is that in the heart of the whole Hindu civilization, in Madurai itself, the anti-Hindu, such amount of oppressive power, such a supremacist oppressive power, where they can conspire these attacks, and we're literally powerless to stop it. As you can see here, some of the really heart-wrenching photographs of the sannyasis who were hospitalized and the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism attending to them personally.
Yes, this is on the 30th of May 2012 when His Divine Holiness and the 292nd Pontiff they were traveling back from the same Kanjanur temple. And literally, before the attack happened, they had confronted their vehicle, and the police actually they pretended to stop the mobs. But the assassins they dragged the devotees, though these were two devotees, they were named Senthil Kumar and Muthu Krishnan, out of the escort vehicle. They beat them brutally while His Divine Holiness and Second Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and the 292nd Pontiff had literally just escaped from the attack. So these were the two people who were actually beaten up by the mobs when the attack was happening.
And would it be possible, Mahatma Priyaswami, if you can share a little bit about what was going on inside of the Adinam? Were all of you afraid of what's going to happen next of a different raid? I know you yourself personally have been through the attacks in 2010, and you know the power that these anti-Hindu militant forces have, and they will go to any extent to make sure that what they want is done. So can you share a little bit about what was going on inside as a woman, as a female sannyasi? What was happening inside of the Adinam? It seems like we have a technical difficulty. And I just like to share with all of the viewers also, once again, that the attacks against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism that happened surrounding the revival of the ancient Hindu indigenous kingdom, the Kailasa known as the Shamala Pita Sarvajna Pitam, was literally a brutal forced attack that was destroying once again, one of the most ancient Adinams, one of the most ancient heritage sites and heritage structures of Sanatana Hindu Dharma. And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, as we had explained before, in just a matter of a few weeks after his coronation, crime rates in the surrounding area of the kingdom had gone down. The restoration of temples had started. The people were being fed free food every single day. Medical camps were going on. A surrounding population of 10,000 people was being attended to, and they were feeling so uplifted by the presence of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Yet there was so much of brutal onslaught that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had to undergo. Why does this have to happen? What were the intentions of these anti-Hindu militant forces? And not only that, they have specific agenda against Hinduism. If you even see in the writ petitions that they have filed, and just previously we had seen the writ petitions that they had filed, how they were attacking specific Hindu rituals, Hindu traditions, saying that the holy water that we are distributing, that we are offering to the divine, and also then distributing as prasada, taken and drunken immediately, the holy water was mixed or spiked with alcohol. Can you imagine if this was said against any other religion? If this was said in any other circumstance, this is a direct, just hurting the religious sentiments. How can they take something so pure, something so sacred as a Hindu sacred ritual that is ongoing, the offering of waters to the feet of the Guru and the feet of the deity, and then taking that as prasada? But they abused that, and they literally twisted that and made it seem as though there was some crime happening there. This is what we have to address in the entirety, in the fights that in the entire persecution against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, that it's directly because the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is reviving Sanatana Hindu Dharma. It's directly against the Hinduism and against Hinduism as an entirety. It's not just the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism that they want to attack, but entire Hinduism in as a whole that they want to demolish and they want to eradicate completely. In the surrounding community of Madurai, even though it is the Madurai Adinam and the Shamala Pita Sarvagna Pitam is surviving until today, still there's so much of corruption inside that makes the temple functions and the temple functions, the temple administration, all of that ultimately not benefit the temple ecosystem and making the temple ecosystem weaker and weaker. And because the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had been coronated as the Guru Mahasannidhanam of the Shamala Pita Sarvagna Pitam, Hindus in the whole ecosystem were feeling so much of hope that finally there would be some hope that Madurai could be the civilization that it once was. And that there was hope that that there was going to be so much of revival of the sacred Hindu practices and the ecosystem of Madurai. However, we have seen continuously how this attack against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has only worsened and worsened. Now today, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has revived the Shamala Pita Sarvagna Pitam despite so much of attack again in Madurai, and the services are continuing today as the Shamala Pita Sarvagna Pitam. Many of you know, and you can even see the activities continuously being shared across on social media and being shown into the international audience, where when an Adinam about Hinduism, the oldest Adinam, was not even known to the outer world, to the whole of the world, and the history was covered and made invisible by anti-Hindu forces. Because of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, today the whole world recognizes the Shamala Pita Sarvagna Pitam as an ancient Hindu indigenous kingdom that was sovereign in its own right. Now, this brings us to a conclusion of today's segment on the persecution against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and the Hindu Holocaust. This entire month, we are bringing awareness and we are speaking on the Hindu Holocaust and how the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has literally been on the forefront of this, of the attacks against Hinduism as a whole. And today, he is the last hope for the revival of Sanatana Hindu Dharma. So I request each and every one of the viewers, take a few minutes to go to the link below and see how the United Nations has recognized the persecution of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and the Human Rights Commission of the United Nations has actually listed Kailasa as among the persecuted communities and has recognized the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism for the amount he has been reviving the ancient Hindu indigenous kingdoms. He has been protecting the rights of Hindu women and minority Hindu women, and he has and the amount of persecution he has been through just for this. Please go to this link, explore on your own, and share this to all of everyone that you know. And we'll now be entering into the next segment of today's program. We're continuing also with the explanations of the persecution of Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism after a very quick break.
Nithyananda Paramashivoham Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda 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 Paramashivoham.
Nithyananda. Nithyanandam. So now we'll be continuing on to the next segment of today's program, the Nithyananda Satsang from the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. After that, you can join us for the Power Manifestation segment, where you can practice and play with the powers of Paramashiva. So now, thank you for attending to this program. We'll now be continuing into the next segment of today's program, the Satsang by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. And then we'll be concluding today's program. Thank you, Nithyananda.
Connecting with the divine with your eyes closed is meditation. Connecting with the divine with your eyes open is darshan. Come, let us all now move from meditation to darshan. Slowly, very slowly, please open your eyes.
என்னப்பனல்லவா என்னப்பனல்லவா எந்தாயுமல்லவா எந்தாயுமல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா என்னப்பனல்லவா எந்தாயுமல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா எங்கும் நிறைந்தவா எண்ணம் கடந்தவா பொங்கும் அருவியாய் ஆனந்தம் தந்தவா எங்கும் நிறைந்தவா எண்ணம் கடந்தவா பொங்கும் அருவியாய் ஆனந்தம் தந்தவா என்னப்பனல்லவா எந்தாயுமல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா ஏழாம் உடல்கள் தாண்டி நித்திய வாழ்வும் கண்டிட என்னப்பன் 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 அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் ஞானம் அளிக்கவா என்னப்பன் அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் ஞானம் அளிக்கவா ஏழாம் உடல்கள் தாண்டி நிற்க வாழும் கண்டிட கேடான காலம் தன்னை வென்று நிலை நின்றிட ஏழாம் உடல்கள் தாண்டி நிற்க வாழும் கண்டிட கேடான காலம் தன்னை வென்று நிலை நின்றிட சீடான பாவம் வழி நீங்க பெரும் வாழ்வினை கொண்டாட நித்யானந்த ஸ்புரணம் தன்னை நிறவா சீடான பாவம் வழி நீங்க பெரும் வாழ்வினை கொண்டாட நித்யானந்த ஸ்புரணம் தன்னை நிறவா என்னப்பன் 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 அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் ஞானம் அளிக்கவா என்னப்பன் அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் ஞானம் அளிக்கவா ஏழாம் உடல்கள் தாண்டி நிற்க வாழும் கண்டிட கேடான காலம் தன்னை வென்று நிலை நின்றிட ஏழாம் உடல்கள் தாண்டி நிற்க வாழும் கண்டிட கேடான காலம் தன்னை வென்று நிலை நின்றிட சீடான பாவம் வழி நீங்க பெரும் வாழ்வினை கொண்டாட நித்யானந்த ஸ்புரணம் தன்னை நிறவா சீடான பாவம் வழி நீங்க பெரும் வாழ்வினை கொண்டாட நித்யானந்த ஸ்புரணம் தன்னை நிறவா என்னப்பன் 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 அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் ஞானம் அளிக்கவா என்னப்பன் அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் ஞானம் அளிக்கவா என்னப்பன் அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் ஞானம் அளிக்கவா என்னப்பன் அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் ஞானம் அளிக்கவா எங்கும் நிறைந்தவா எண்ணம் கடந்தவா பொங்கும் அருவியாய் ஆனந்தம் தந்தவா எங்கும் நிறைந்தவா எண்ணம் கடந்தவா பொங்கும் அருவியாய் ஆனந்தம் தந்தவா என்னப்பன் அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் ஞானம் அளிக்கவா என்னப்பன் அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் ஞானம் அளிக்கவா எங்கும் நிறைந்தவா எண்ணம் கடந்தவா பொங்கும் அருவியாய் ஆனந்தம் தந்தவா எங்கும் நிறைந்தவா எண்ணம் கடந்தவா பொங்கும் அருவியாய் ஆனந்தம் தந்தவா
தவமோ உற்ற நண்பனாய் நித்யானந்தன் வந்து உதித்தான் ஜென்ம ஜென்மமாய் செய்த தவமோ உற்ற நண்பனாய் நித்யானந்தன் வந்து உதித்தான் காக்கும் இறையே நட்பின் உருவாய் வந்த களிப்பால் கட்டு கடந்தா மகிழ்வு கொண்டே மலை போல் வரும் துயர் யாவையும் நொடிப்போதினில் கொடியாக்கிட புயலாய் வருவான் துணையென வருவான் ஜென்ம ஜென்மமாய் செய்த தவமோ உற்ற நண்பனாய் நித்யானந்தன் வந்து உதித்தான்
ஓம் நித்யானந்தேஸ்வர பரமசிவ சமாரம்பாம் நித்யானந்தேஸ்வரி பரமசக்தி மத்யமாம் அஸ்மதாச்சார்ய பர்யந்தாம் வந்தே குரு பரம்பராம். I welcome you all with my love and respect. I welcome all the devotees, disciples, Samajis, Satsangis, Shri Mahans, Mahans, Kotari, Tanedar, visitors, viewers, Sarvanyapita Kartas, Yajamans, Manifestors, Sarvaparityagis. I welcome all of you with my love and blessings. Paramashiva's message directly from Kailasa. Listen. Ferociously, not softly, not politely, not mildly, but ferociously breaking the obsessive, compulsive, reactionary patterns. Ferociously, reactionary pattern. Very carefully. Then I'll translate. Listen. முதல்ல உடம்பு வளையறதுனால உடம்ப சரி பண்றதுனால மனசை சரி பண்றது ஹடயோகம். ஜடம் சிற்ஜட கிரந்தி மேல் வேலை செய்வது. பிறகு மனச நிமித்தினாலே உடம்ப நிமித்திர முடியும்னு புரிஞ்சிக்கிறது தியான யோகம். சித்தோட பவரை, சக்திய கிரந்தி மேல செலுத்தி ஜடத்தை மாற்றுவது. பிறகு சித் மலர்ந்தாலே கிரந்தி ஜடம் இந்த ரெண்டுமே விருப்பத்தின்படி இயங்கும்னு தெரிஞ்சுக்கிறது யோகம், சமாதி யோகம். Now I'll translate. Listen. First, initially bending the body. By bending the body, you can bend your mind. Learning that is Hatha Yoga. Then, by bending the mind, learning that you can change your body is Dhyana Yoga. Then, realizing by bending your consciousness, playing with your consciousness itself, you can change the mind and the body is Samadhi Yoga. Ultimate yoga. Listen. Then, after a few days, I had the opportunity to have darshan of Arunagiri Yogeshwara. That time, I was asking him some clarification. Beautifully, Arunagiri Yogeshwara explained to me. I'll repeat again the exact statement. That's the way I've seen many times Arunagiri Yogeshwara used to address me. படிப்படியா பண்ணா சாத்தியங்கள் மலரும்பா, ஒரேடியா உடைச்சாத்தான் சக்திகள் மலரும்பா. I'll translate this word. Listen. See, if you break your patterns step by step, slowly, you will achieve the great possibilities. But if you break patterns ferociously, only then you manifest powers. Very beautifully he told me. See, if you do yoga every day, one day you do 10 Surya Namaskar, next day you make it into 25, then you make it into like 50 Surya Namaskar, then you add Surya Namaskar and Pranayama, then you add Surya Namaskar and Pranayama and meditation. This way you will manifest your possibilities. But if you break the patterns, not step by step, just in one stroke, ferociously, to manifest powers, not just possibility. See, body flexibility, muscle building, able to do rope yoga, pole yoga, all these are possibilities. But straight levitation is a power, not just possibility. There's a difference between possibility and power. Listen. Every time you break your patterns step by step, you manifest possibilities. Whenever you break your patterns ferociously, you just manifest powers. You just manifest power. Listen, I tell you. Please listen, I tell you. Understand? I'll repeat now. All of you intensely listen. For example, yes, I think people are able to see and hear. Let me repeat now. Whenever you break your patterns, the obsessive, compulsive, reactionary patterns, whenever you break those patterns in you ferociously, you manifest powers. I tell you, it's really happened. One person came to me with rheumatoid arthritis problem. It was very severe. The fingers have started getting twisted, and the effect of the disease is seen even physically, not just in the form of pain alone. The body started getting distorted. I sat with that person and spoke to the person to understand the source. Obsessive compulsive reactionary pattern of her which triggered this disease in her. Please understand. All diseases are triggered inside you due to some compulsive reactionary pattern. So I wanted to study for 10 minutes her anger towards mother-in-law and how she gets triggered by mother-in-law and how it has become a very perfectly on somebody else and does this. The person outside is replaced, but the pattern and the vicious circle continues. I thoroughly studied her within that few minutes.
each one of us in that beautiful space with such compassion and such a beautiful space. He says, "Oh Devi, what that exists is that Sunya, that is that Sunya, that the other than this exist, which is the state of all inclusiveness and infinity, where you become infinite. You are not finite by the body that you hold, but or the mind. You become the infinite. You become the Arunachala, Smarnatma Mukti Arunachala. You become the essence. You become the frequency. You become the manifestation of the reality. And everything can happen as a manifestation. Nothing is need to be possessed or nothing is to be kept, but everything can happen out of your just command when you are consciousness. Bhagavan teaches us the science, how we know the dream state, deep sleep state. Now he teaches the science of living as superconscious state. Beautifully in the Mahabharata, Valmiki Ramayana, we have the chapter 50, where it clearly says how Ravana lifted his Vimana, which is silicon, made of the metals and silicon. And he lifted only through the power of consciousness. Just him residing there and raising with just the Mahavakya and flying the machine. That was very much possible that Ravana knew the science. Same way, when we see all the bridges built, now they have the Ramasetu, a huge bridge built, and the only thing that they were able to find out with the logs of wood and such large stones and everything there is only by chanting the Rama Nama. Each and everybody, not just Hanuman, everyone experienced the oneness, including the squirrels, and they were putting the rocks on the riverbed and make a beautiful bridge for Rama to walk on it. Just for Rama, they were able to dedicate their whole space, shifted it, and manifested the power of consciousness over matter. Beautifully, each of us can experience the ultimate reality when we understand the superconscious space, why we exist on planet Earth is only the conscious sovereignty. That is the only reason why we have come down to experience what would each squirrels and all these animals would have experienced when they built the huge bridge for Rama. That is exactly how Bhagavan feels, each of you manifesting these powers. Beautifully, one Ramana Maharshi was meditating with so many people in a hall, and then one monkey came. A monkey came and tried to take the banana, and Ramana Maharshi always initiated his disciples through just a sight, just his eyes. So when he looked at the monkey, when the monkey took the banana, 5 minutes, it was a recorded space, 5 minutes, the monkey did not move from that place. It kept looking at Ramana Maharshi and Ramana Maharshi kept looking at him. After 5 minutes, the monkey took the banana and he gives a Mahavakya for it. He says very clearly, what on earth is there for you to hold more than this space? And then the monkey leaves. That is to make us understand our mind is like monkey, but monkey itself can stay 5 minutes without movement. We can experience much greater truth just being in the oneness with Paramashiva. Beautifully, Bhagavan here gives us how the Vimana Shastra can be really brought into the reality. Bhagavan says, today I am mapping the Vimana Shastra super science and I discover chemicals released in the human body during the flight takeoff release certain chemicals in our body and create certain subtle bioenergy. The same energy is only used as a fuel in the Vimana. Once we are able to rebuild the Vimana structure as per the Hindu Shastra, we won't need any external fuel, Just you need to sit in the Vimana, visualize you are flying and the chemical released in your body and bioenergy fuel the Vimana and in the Vimana and it takes off. It is so wild to see how just thoughts and feelings can operate huge machines like Vimana. I also feels humanity need to put more time and energy and study the super science to understand more about Vimana and human consciousness possibility, please share with all. Bhagavan is giving us in the Nitya Satsang, March 19, 2019. Beautifully, he has said how he is creating the Vimana Shastra as reality for all of us. All this great science is going to be truthful. Bhagavan beautifully said how human beings will be flying across the place. And it has been recorded in Tirumular also. Konakar Chandra Nadi is also referring to the same thing, how people in 2030 will be flying and floating in air, and all the great science of humanity will be unfolded really in reality, and the whole world changes into a next conscious breakthrough of reality. Now Bhagavan himself speaks on consciousness.
House, Saraswati is the decider. In Vaishnava's house, the lady keeps the whole wealth under the control. In Shaivaite's house, off, energy. It's a thought current and lifestyle. Saraswati. The silicon of Saraswati. If you take and filter the silicon and make the chips for wherever you need artificial intelligence, it will help you 1,000 times. Let this all be in record. I'll prove all this. You will see. Because these are all chemically awakened, physically manifesting proven biology. It is already, this biology is already used for alchemy, and it has already been established. It is success for all this kind of activities.
So beautiful how the silicon is a mother's energy which starts manifesting in us as powers. Is clearly shown how we can have the power over matter. Here you can see from Shakshi Pramana, from a devotee who has shared the video. This tab is completely off and they have placed a coconut. Coconut is pretty heavy object. And you can see the coconut moving, not just, it's just sliding, but it is turning the angle and beautifully moving on the silicon. Coconut is also something we relate to ourselves very much. How we are made 70% water. The coconut also same thing. And a hard shell that we have is the ego that we hold. And same way it has a very hard shell but very soft inside. Beautifully, you can see how the power manifestation unfolds here. And all of us now can experience the same oneness. To experience, it is not sliding. That's what they want to show. It's a flat surface. There is no slant or there is nothing. It's a very flat surface. And how beautifully the coconut moved across. And the tab is completely switched off. There's no vibration or any features on the tab. Now, all of us can experience consciousness over matter on silicon. So you can take a coconut or something which is not slippery, which is very stable, and switch off the silicon tab. Silicon is sand and the mother energy and what we are made of, the matter. If we understand that all is one and the same, the Paramashiva space in all of us, the quantum entanglement happens. We will simply be able to command everything as we move. Bhagavan, how beautifully he says, if I can move my hand, I can move the air around it. If I can move the air around it, I can move the stone around it, the air. And that is the Arunachala hill also moves and merges into oneness. If they can move a mountain, moving an object is simply possible. Now take the phone, switch off completely and have the object very clearly placed. Make sure there is no slant or anything on the ground. Surface should be very flat like they showed in the video. Make sure you are keeping it very nice position that it does not slide off or go by itself. Like if you use Atmalinga, it might slide off. So keep it something like a deity which will beautifully move, rotate and manifest the reality. If you can move it at least by 5 centimeter, like what you saw, it is manifestation of the power consciousness over matter. Moving these things, what do I gain? You can move all the blocks out in your inner space. The obsessive compulsive reaction patterns gets off, moved, and you experience that that is not you. You are consciousness. Whatever you're experiencing, the incompletions in you is not you. It's all the parasites and microbes which are sitting in the body, which is reacting to whatever is there. Bhagavan says the lower three chakras, if you have vairagya, you can go beyond that and experience the oneness. All that we need to do is detox the body, starting from the puja and the yoga and the detox, whatever, haritaki, neem juice. Completely your body becomes healed for the higher consciousness to manifest as reality. If you have Jnananjan in your Kantamala, you can apply in your third eye and your temples. If you do not have, you can have the Basma and Kumkum so that you can experience the oneness and detox the third eye. Any Basma or Vibhuti Kumkum from your temple nearby is perfectly fine, Bhagavan says, as a Aushadha. So turn on your camera. Many have recorded these things, and when they close the eyes, the object moves, and when they open the eyes, it is back to normal. And it's so shocking to see that how it has manifested, but they missed recording. And so don't miss recording, especially for consciousness over matter. So let's get it ready with the instruction. Sit straight with your head, neck, and spine in a straight line. His beautiful words, his boons, his blessings, his initiations, only that, and how he said Arunachala Mukti, Smarnatha Mukti, Arunachala. Just hold that again and again in your inner space. Remembrance is liberation. Remembrance, that which Bhagavan beautifully defines remembrance. That which cannot be forgotten, that which cannot be remembered, but that which remembers you. That is what remembrance Bhagavan defines. Remembrance of Paramashiva in your third eye liberates you into the conscious space. On the silicon, for this session, you are Shiva. All of us are gods and goddesses sitting here today experiencing the Paramashiva manifesting as Parashakti. Other than that, we don't have anybody in the session. Hold only that space. All are Paramashiva, Parashakti with 25 heads and 75 eyes and 50 hands, bringing so much of awareness in you. Bring that and vibrate, your whole being vibrating with Mahavakya. Simply you entangling with Bhagavan should manifest all the reality that you wanted, all the auspiciousness, abundance, healing simply will start manifesting in you as reality. So start holding the deep meditative space that you have just gone through and start manifesting the power of consciousness over matter by chanting the Mahavakya intensely.
Nithyananda Paramashivam. Om 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 Nithyananda Paramashivam. Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amrita pour Let the Varni open up, manifest in all of us. Let Paramashiva overflow, manifest the powers in all our third eye. Om Nithyananda Paramashivam. 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 Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amrita pour, let the Varni open up, manifest in all of us. Let Paramashiva overflow, manifest the powers in all our third eyes. Om Nithyananda Paramashivam. 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 Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amrita pour, let the Varni open up. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amrita pour, let the Varni open up, manifest in all of us. Let Paramashiva overflow, manifest the powers in all our third eyes. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda.
So beautiful. If you're manifested, take a picture of that. Completely all that we experience, oneness with Paramashiva, that manifests as our reality. The more and more we experience oneness with Paramashiva, Paramashiva will manifest. We take about 25 years to become a doctor or 30 years to become a lawyer, but we have 30 seconds or just 30 minutes. We want to experience the superconscious breakthrough. At least every day when we start experiencing, it's like learning swimming or learning to walk. When you were 1 year old, you might have started little bit putting your steps, and every day you would have fallen at least 100 times. You did not give up. You know that you will walk. That is the first thing you started with. Same way, power manifestation also. You very clearly know that you are going to manifest these powers, superconscious. And without that, you are not getting out of the Kailash courtyard. That is the space of will persistence which makes it happen. The same thing as swimming. First, you might feel like you're drowning, you're not swimming, and whatever, it takes some time. But if you keep seeing others, it will not still happen. But once you start doing it, you will start understanding that simply you can manifest your reality. Each of these powers is not just moving something on a silicon, but moving all the unconsciousness out and all the blocks out and manifesting our reality. All these power manifestation is not some kid's game, but it's a conscious shift that happens in us and manifest as reality. The higher space, how it exists. When Agastya wanted to create, he just created Lopamudra. When Angambumbai, just from the ashes, the whole space she was created, Angambumbai was created. The whole science is available for all of us. And we just need to create that reality by holding that oneness space with Paramashiva. So let's start chanting the Mahavakya, have another cycle, and intensely entangle with Bhagwan and hold only Bhagwan's words and Bhagwan's visualization as our reality. Let's start chanting for the second cycle and manifest the powers of consciousness over matter.
Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om 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 Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amrita pour, let the Varni open. Let Paramashiva overflow, manifest the powers in all our third eyes. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. 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 Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amrita pour, let the Om Nithyananda Paramashivam. 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 Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amrita pour, let the Vani open up, manifest in all of us.
Such a beautiful experience for all of us. Powerful cognition, blessings, pre-satsangs and satsangs, and power manifestation. Bhagwan's blessing, initiation, all that Bhagwan is showering on each of us, taking so much of time and effort for each of this to be conducted and put together just for you, just for your super conscious breakthrough. Take 5 minutes of your time. Bhagwan has taken 5 hours to make this conscious space for you. Take 5 minutes to show the gratitude to Bhagwan. Share all this powerful cognition, power manifestation, or whatever you would experience, and thank Bhagwan every single day in tinyurl.com/power manifestation or in your social media, and tag it to your friends and families. Again and again, thanking Bhagwan each day expands us, and sharing all this with billions of people are nothing but your own reflection. When you raise their superconscious space by your clarities and your cognition that you have received as prasada from Bhagwan today, simply will manifest in others, which is collective integrity, and which will completely reduce your obsessive compulsive reactionary patterns and manifest all your auspiciousness, abundance, and healing. So beautiful. Bhagwan has given simple methods for us to experience the greatest reality. If you see a $sign at the end of the YouTube, and you can offer your gratitude to Kailasa. All this, when we offer gratitude to Kailasa, simply Kailasa shuffles in our inner space and expand our inner space to conscious space. So beautiful that all of us is being blessed today. Whoever is there till the end is being blessed by Bhagwan for the most auspiciousness and abundance. So thank each and every one of you to hold hundreds of you holding this oneness space and manifesting these powers. So with that, let's surrender to Bhagwan's lotus feet all the powerful cognition and power manifestation. Whenever you manifest, offer everything to Bhagwan's lotus feet so that you will be expanding in your cognition more and more deeply. With that, let's end this session with a Purna mantra. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purna Purnamudashyate Purnasya Purnamataya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat Sarvam Bhagavate Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam Paduka Arpanamastu. Om Nithyanandam. Thank you so much. See you all again after the next satsang. And next darshan, we'll have the Kailash Kotiyar. See you then. Till then, thank you, Nithyanandam.